Relation between Ethiopia and Russia goes back to the 19th century, when Russian adventurer Nikolai Shinkovs made expedition to the Horn of Africa. During the reign of Emperor Menelik II, political and religious affinity built up the two countries' relation. Russia provided arms to Menelik, which later Ethiopian army used it at the Battle of Adwa. This year is special in Ethio-Russia relations. It marks the 120th anniversary of the establishment of official diplomatic relations between the two countries. Amid the celebration, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov paid a visit to Ethiopia alongside his African tour. Lavrov met Ethiopian President Dr. Mulat Teshome and discussed bilateral relations between the two countries. On their discussion, the two countries' historical tie was highlighted, particularly the Russian solidarity with Ethiopia, when first illustrated when the Russian Red Cross Society, at the time the Battle of Adwa, which was concluded by Ethiopian victory. Foreign Minister Lavrov and Dr. Mulatu showed keenness to transform their historical and age-long diplomatic and people-to-people ties into economic spheres. Russian Foreign Minister also conferred with Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn and raised various mutual concerns, ranging from socio-economic and political to international cooperation. Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn used the opportunity to call on Russian companies to come and invest in Ethiopia. Sergei Lavrov's visit to Ethiopia this time features several important developments, amid which is found the cancellation of dates and resumption of everyday direct flights to Moscow from Addis Ababa by Ethiopian Airlines.
We are going to start very soon after we finished all the processes to start the flight from Addis Ababa to Moscow daily. That will help for people-to-people relationship and boost economy and investment and trade between two countries.
The two countries also agreed to enhance their relationship in a number of areas.
We have laid a particular emphasis on the need of building up our trade, economic and investment cooperation. We have agreed to give an additional boost to the work of the Intergovernmental Commission for the sake of implementing joint projects in a number of domains, such as energy, including nuclear energy, hydropower, biological research, direct flight connections, and many others.
Speaking about Ethiopia's current condition, Lavrov said African problems require African solutions.
We have reaffirmed the need to rely on African-found solutions and approaches to finding a resolution to different crisis situations.
The two countries agreed to work together in areas of education, agriculture, and most importantly, Russia plans to create a nuclear science and technology center for Ethiopia.
Ядерных технологий на базе уже действующего здесь реактора российского дизайна, исследовательского реактора российского дизайна.
Right now, talks are ongoing on establishing a nuclear technology center in Ethiopia on the basis of the already existing Russian design research reactor. The work is going forward at a good pace, and there are no significant delays, whatsoever, and it is also going to be accelerated even further once the necessary intergovernmental agreements that need to be signed are going to be ratified.
In their ties so far, education becomes one of the leading cooperative areas, which Russia greatly contributed to Ethiopia during the socialist era.
At that time, there were lots of Ethiopians in Russia. In fact, there were thousands of them, say 6,000–7,000, attending their education in the country. Even in a single town, it was common to find up to 1,000 students in Russia.
Russians were very gentle and kind more than any other community. They were also most generous, readily sharing whatever they have. Everything in the university was shared by everybody. This was something new for us.
The health sector is also another manifestation of the two nations' cooperation. The Judge Balcha Memorial Hospital is established by Russian and has been given medical services for the last 70 years.
The Judge Balcha Memorial Hospital was established 70 years ago by Russian Red Cross Society based on the request of Emperor Haile Selassie. The hospital has been giving various medical services, particularly neurological and orthopedics. We've also started midwife medical services.
Many Russian doctors with Ethiopians have been serving together in the hospital.
Working here starting from December 2008 up to this moment, so totally it's close to 10 years here in Addis Ababa in Balcha Hospital. Well, I think if some person stay here 10 years in Ethiopia, so it shows that he's loving Ethiopia.
We Ethiopians and Russians are working together for many years. They also share their knowledge and experience. We also have a language school here to increase our intimacy and communication with them.
In addition to support on education and health, Russia was a true friend of Ethiopia, standing by the country in difficult and trying times.
During the Ethio-Somali War, Ethiopia's situation was difficult to the extent that it could hardly fight the war. The country that came to Ethiopia's rescue was Russia.
Russia's contribution to the good of Ethiopia goes beyond this. The country is also held for its irreplaceable role in uplifting Ethiopian literary works.
Pushkin was part and parcel of our blood and manifestation of our identity. His classic poems and literature are behind fame of many writers. Similarly, lots of the current well-known writers in Ethiopia attribute their achievement to his works.
Lavrov also took time to discuss pertinent issues of peace and development with African Union Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat. The foreign minister seized the opportunity to express his country's desire to broaden the areas of cooperation with Africa.
We seek a cooperation with the African Union in all domains without exception, in the political field, in the economy, humanitarian field, in education, and certainly in terms of coordinating our actions in the international arena. All the plans that the African Union drafts, all the strategies it prepares until, I think, 2063, all of these strategies include such avenues that are of interest both to us and to them, and where our interests coincide, we're certainly going to build up additional forms of cooperation.
African Union Commission Chairperson praised Russia's support to Africa since the colonial era, its contribution for Africa's struggle for independence, and its representation at the UN Security Council.
On the continent, thousands of African cadres have been trained in Russia and continue to be trained there. I believe all this has forged a solid friendship, a strong friendship.
On the other hand, the chairperson urged Russia to play an active role in peace support initiatives of the Commission.
Today, we have the issue of the financing of the peace support operations that are taken and initiated by the African Union. Despite the strong mandate, these different missions lack the predictable and sustainable funding, and this issue is still pending at the UN Security Council, and we have requested for the active support, as it has done in the past, of Russia on this fundamental issue in order to finance AMISOM, which is at its 11th year in Somalia, and the G5 Sahel Joint Force.
Lavrov expressed Russia's commitment to support AU and its peace-building efforts in the continent.
Respect on behalf of the international community for the African-led solutions. We have to support the solutions and conflict resolution supported by the African Union. We have also talked about Libya, the Sahara and Sahel, the Horn of Africa, as well as the Great Lakes region. We are going to continue to ground our support.
Energy, information technology and investment are among the areas the African Union Commission and Russia agreed to cooperate in.
The trade and economic cooperation, which is somewhat lagging behind our political interaction, we have also agreed to more actively promote our dialogue in terms of our cooperation in energy, high-tech, and to also actively promote direct contacts between our business circles. We have even agreed to contemplate a joint forum of business circles from the AU and Russia.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov believes his visit to Ethiopia and a few African countries facilitates his country's political and economic cooperation with African countries. Particularly to Ethiopia, his visit furthers bilateral cooperation of Ethiopia and Russia on trade, economic and investment component and implementation of joint projects.